Hi Elliot, welcome to the session. Thanks very much firstly for giving up your time today, really appreciate that. The guys have just been doing a task and they were placing themselves in your shoes about how you went about devising a walking football session for Merthyr Town Football Club. So throughout the next 5 or 10 minutes, if you can provide a bit of an overview of how you went about it. Starting with how it was marketed, how did you go about that?
Well, initially, at the moment we have 3 sessions within the Merthyr Borough. We have one centrally here at Penarn Park, we have one in the north and one in the south, and all 3 were marketed in different ways. The one here at Penarn Park was quite simple really. We know that a large percentage of our fans and our supporters here in Merthyr Town fit into that walking football age bracket, so we just quite simply put it on our forum, put it on our website, some posters and leaflets around the club, and then from there the fans were able to pick up on it, and then we started engaging with them that way. So that's sort of how we went here, quite simple, quite straightforward. When we then launched our session down the north of the borough, we don't do a lot of work down that way, down in Treharris, so we had to look for partners. So we engaged with one of the key partners down there, Communities First South Cluster. They already do a lot and run a lot of provision in that area, so they were able to promote the session within other things that they're doing, and then we sort of picked up the interest that way. In the north of the borough, we tried to link with a few key organisations, but for whatever reason we weren't able to develop the relationship that we have with Communities First South Cluster. So that then was a case of going back to social media, posters, leaflets. Word of mouth is a big thing, especially in around that sort of older age communities. You know, a lot of them in cafes on a Saturday morning, having a tea, having some breakfast. So that word of mouth was key. But again, posters, leaflets. What we find is the younger generations these days are all about social media. You put something on social media, they see it. The older generations not so much. They still sort of rely on notice boards and posters and leaflets and different things like that. So that's what we worked it for that.
So a different approach to the marketing from your perspective, because I suppose you weren't targeting this generation before, and therefore you needed to identify different ways.
And we've probably seen that because here at the football club we put the posters and leaflets out and it took off straight away. Down in the north we engaged with Communities First South Cluster, and they instantly got that word out for us. Whereas in the north we instantly went social media as people do, Facebook, Twitter, different things like that, websites, and it didn't really take off for us. As soon as we started going into local cafes and shops and putting posters and leaflets around and flyers, that's when that session then really began to take off. And of course it's all about finding that area. There's no point us putting posters for the northern session down in the south of the borough, because it's unlikely they're going to make that trek up. So it's important that you identify the area that you're working in and you're delivering in, and then target key shops, key cafes, different stuff like that.
Have you encountered any stigma attached to walking football, or has anybody become quite hesitant about approaching the activity?
To be fair, when the participants come, they tend to get stuck in quite rather immediately, and to be fair to the lads that are in the session, they are great with new people and they welcome them in and make them feel comfortable. What we do tend to find with other football clubs, and or other walking football teams, and it's something that we certainly did when we first started, we looked too much at the age bracket. So in the cases, this is only for over 55, so it's only for 50s or only for over 60s, and we only allowed them to play, rather than focusing more on what walking football can do for a person. And as you've seen today out there, we do have the vast majority of our attendees are over that age of 50 or 55, but there is then Peter Jones, who I think is 40, 42, 43, and we let him play because he's had a stint put in, because he's had heart problems in the past. He can't play high intensity football, so that out there is perfect for him. Technically, because he's walking, or he should be walking like the rest of them are, they're all on a level playing field, so the age doesn't really matter too much. So therefore whereas we go to other walking football teams and they're only allowing over 50 and over 55s to play, we'd rather focus more on the individual and what the sport can do for them.
Okay, so it's sort of evolved over time, really.
Yeah.
It started as something, but you've adapted and responded to the clientele that wanted to take part.
Yeah, initially it was just, this is ideal for over 50s, over 55s, and like I said, we focused on the age rather than the actual needs of the individual, whereas now we've stepped back and like I said, looked at Peter and thought, yeah, this can work for him, this can benefit him. If he doesn't play this, what else can he do other than sit in the house? So for that, then we allowed to play. And like I said, the lads out there don't have any complaints whatsoever.
So what's the demographic of the individual that you've got taking part? You've mentioned maybe somebody with health problems, and you've mentioned there are a large allocation of over 55s, but obviously that's quite a huge age range. But what's your are they employed, unemployed, retired, or
the vast majority in terms of age, so the drop in between, I would say the 55 and 70 age bracket in there. We then do have some that are employed, but very rare, because obviously they won't be able to get to the sessions because they're in the middle of the week, 10 to 11. There's one or two that are part-time, but the vast majority are retired or unemployed.
Right. What is the purpose of the initiative? So with any programme that you've probably got to base it around a rationale to your board. Why are you running Walking Football?
When we initially launched Walking Football, it was for two reasons. Like I said, we know that the vast majority of our supporters are over the age of 50 or over the age of 55. So we were looking at different ways that the club could engage with them. Obviously we go out and we do community stuff, we do schools, football, different stuff like that, and that's engaging with the younger generations, but we wanted to give something back to those fans that have supported this club for 30, 40, 50 years, some even longer. So that was one of the big reasons that we wanted to start Walking Football. And the other reason was that we could just engage with not just supporters of that age bracket, but anyone locally and sort of just outside the locality of Merthyr Tydfil. Anybody over the age of 50 or 55, whether they have any connection to Merthyr Town or not, there's an opportunity for them to partake in some form of physical activity and exercise. The opportunities for that age bracket to engage in any type of physical activity is limited. A lot of them don't want to go to the gym, it can be quite an intimidating place. So they come here with people of the same age and an environment that is quite comfortable. That was another reason why we wanted to launch the Walking Football.
And I guess a benefit for you as an organisation as well is that you've got a facility. Practically, you've got a facility to fill. You've got a programme there that you need to fill.
Yeah.
And with the older generation, who majority are retired, I suppose there's an activity there that can take part in the day.
Yeah, when we first had the 3G pitch laid, instantly in the evenings it took off, and it still does. Sort of from that even Monday right through to Sunday evenings, from 5 o'clock in the evening through till 10, it's rammed and you can't get on it. But in terms of the daytime, as it is now after the session, it's very, very quiet here. So it was something that we could do where we knew there was a free time slot. We could be flexible with it. If a majority of the participants came and said, the wife likes me to take her shopping at 10 o'clock, and we go 10:30, we knew we had plenty of time to work the session around the participants themselves. Although they're retired, they do have a lot of obligation within the house. Like I said, the amount of them that will say, the wife drags me here and she drags me there, and today is shopping day and stuff like that. We still wanted to be able to work around that. So one of the key reasons was to get more people using the facility in the daytime and not just evenings.